right, it is the 10th of September 2024. This is Tuesday. This is a morning cafe hotter than your coffee. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Karibu sana.
I'm usually Stanley Nyeringiti, about to have a terrific Tuesday. And conversations for this particular morning, they're going to be very, very interesting. So buckle up for that. We're going to be having Samuel Musumba. He is an NTSA road safety manager because the cases of road accidents in the country zimeongezeka. So definitely get to learn. And we're going to be asking you, do you know, do you follow those traffic rules? Hizo zote zenye ziko. Do you follow them really? Mtakuwa mnatuambia.
All right. Before we even get to the newspaper, of course, we'll be having a conversation with members of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. What exactly do they do and what are they looking forward to? Do stand by for that conversation this morning.
And then for low matters this particular morning, gentlemen, Karibia TV nikuulize. In case mtu akupatie, akuwekelee bola kuambie, you know what, mtoto ni wako. And mtoto si wako. Biologically, mtoto si wako. What are you going to do? Tell us. What are you going to do?
Okay.
Yes. Stick around for that conversation. Paul Mashare, he's an advocate of the High Court, is going to be telling us the legal consequences and consequence of that.
Okay. And of course, for movie lovers and movie buffs today, one of the greatest actors, both on stage and in movies, is called James Earl Jones, has passed on at the age of 93. Now, James Earl Jones is a man behind the voice of Simba in Lion King. And if you've watched Star Wars, I don't know kama ulikuwa.
Yes.
Star Wars Enterprise. Now the villain, the main villain, Darth Vader. That's the voice. I said, but these are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Very powerful voice. James Earl Jones has passed on at the age of 93.
May he rest in peace. Kwenye gazeti la Taifa Leo, as we take a look at the headlines, locally as well as regionally. Start off with Taifa Leo, jeshi la Gachagua laonya serikali.
Na jeshi lenyewe liko pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Taifa Leo. Jeshi la Gachagua laonya serikali. Habari kuu kwenye Taifa Leo.
Ni wale wanasema usijaribu kuguza nini?
Usiguze mlima. Kwengineko, Mbadi's first tax headache. We're back to matters tax, even with the new CS for Treasury. What exactly does he have in store? When it comes to VAT, he has a proposal to reduce it from 16% to 14%. What do you think about that? Yes. That's a big headline on the front page of the People Daily.
On the front page of the Star, remember it is a free copy of the Star this morning. How to at a shilingi, how to at ndururu. There is Insight, the MyGov
iko ndani ya Star leo.
And they go the very interesting headline that you typically see on the Star, or rather for Tuesday you typically see it. Sharp divisions mark Ruto's 2-year rule, and they list a number of achievements. Actually, by I think it's next week. He's going to be marking 2 years since he was sworn in.
So the Star's gone ahead,
yes,
and brought 2 years of President Ruto.
Yes.
They say the smart people read the Star. Grab yourself a copy. We'll be back to take a look at these headlines and more later on. Matters business. Old Mutual disowns a 3.9 billion shilling building in shareholders' row. Wow. Unaweza disown building. Sema hizo si zangu sasa. Matters business there, and we'll be back to take a look at that. On the main paper, Daily Nation, 5 days of anguish, the main discussion, of course, still with the fire at Endarasha Hillside Academy. 140 parents have confirmed they have their children at home. But questions still abound. What will happen next?
At the very top.
Pale kuna story moja mega hapa.
Do you remember this name, ladies and gentlemen? Mohamed Dida. Do you remember it?
Abduba Dida.
Yes. We'll be back to tell you what he did.
Ako wapi sahi? Anafanya nini siku hizi?
Wale unasema anatoka block lakini ameenda block literally.
Officer gone rogue, that's a big headline on the Standard this morning. They talk about the acting inspector general, and even yesterday he was sentenced, or rather he was convicted for contempt of court in absentia.
Yes.
Hata alisema sina time boss, sina time. That's the Standard. Let's cross over and take a look at the dailies across the border in Uganda. The cleanest paper, or at least the cleanest front page. That's a Daily Monitor.
They have a special report here. They say the mystery of human skulls in shrines.
Maswala ya ushirikina ya finally yamefika Uganda.
Uganda, yes. And they're asking the discovery of a huge number of human skulls in shrines across the country in recent days has cast light in a dark world of ritual practices. Yet even those found in the body parts do not want to own up. Did they kill someone? Did they excavate a grave is what they're asking. And 17, the Mpigi mess. In late July, police discovered 17 human skulls in a shrine. I remember this, by the way, in Mpigi Township. Who is accused, so Tubula Luja is accused of having a hand in the killing of a Buganda clan leader, Daniel Bosa, earlier this year, said to own the shrine.
These are very disturbing stories coming from the region. Another story, of course, that has featured on the dailies both in Kenya and across in Uganda. Rebecca feared for her life even before Olympics, and they're talking about Rebecca Cheptegei, who died last week after she was doused in petrol and set ablaze by someone who is said to have been her lover.
Yes.
So in Uganda, because she's a Ugandan athlete, it's still big news, and it's on the front page of the Daily Monitor.
Something else, Fred, you remember us talking about phones in schools in Uganda? And you're saying that the fact that the Ministry of Education there, who, ladies and gentlemen, is also the First Lady, Bibi Museveni, now wanasema ulikuwa umesema ati itakuwa tu through pass.
Ngoja kwanza
itakuwa green light. No. So apparently they're saying phones in schools, not until we have a policy on gadgets. Government now.
It is actually the biggest story on the next paper, the New Vision. No mobile gadgets for schools yet. And we were getting a bit excited about the prospects that if it happens in Uganda, probably it could happen in Kenya as well. Tambua, after all, mukona proper internet connectivity. Watoto wanaweza soma na mobile phone, other gadgets kwa darasa. Ngoja kwanza.
Policies have to be there.
Alafu, Mothers Church, Museveni okays changing registration guidelines. Now, this debate about regulation of churches and registration of churches, in Rwanda, you don't just register a church. There are very stringent rules, and so many were deregistered. Over 400 churches were deregistered by President Paul Kagame this past month. In Uganda, they're having the same conversation, and also in Kenya, like in Kenya, church ni kama murima. Usiguse.
Usiguse.
All right, that's as far as Uganda is concerned. In Tanzania,
opposition cadre killing. With this, continue this conversation in Tanzania. There was a prominent opposition politician who was killed, and they're saying never again, following the abduction and subsequent killing of this prominent politician. People from across the political spectrum have urged the government to ensure that such an incident does not occur again.
All right.
Yes.
That's a big news on the Citizen. It is a big news on the Mwananchi. Wanasema iwe mwisho. Kibao alivyozikwa huku kilio cha uchunguzi huru kikisikika. Masaoni ya shiriki, Mboya atangaza kikao na viongozi Dar, mashuhuda wasimulia, Rostam anena. Na kuna picha pale ya marehemu akipelekwa kuzikwa.
I have to say, gazeti la Mwananchi leo ni safi.
Wamepunguza
taarifa nyingi.
I think wametusikia. Walikuwa wanajaza story ka 47 hapa, like the 47 counties of Kenya on the front page. Sasa inakaa a bit cleaner.
Mandugu zetu pale wametusikiza. Tuangalie traffic and just so that you know when you're leaving the house this morning, venye kama itabidi uchukue haraka ama utoke mapema.
Ni kama kuna shida ya traffic kwenye internet pia, lakini naona part of the expressway is good. Nilikuwa natafuta this area here. Hapa ndio usually kuna kuanga na shida kubwa.
Leo
ndogo ni kama watu wajamka. 10 minutes past 6, the Pangani interchange is still green, so nothing much to report there. Jogoo Road is building slowly as expected at Makadara towards City Stadium roundabout, and that is comfortable. Getting into town along Landis Road and Haile Selassie Avenue is building up slowly as well, so beware. Hapo ni kama kawaida. South of Nairobi, the Nairobi Expressway is looking good all the way into town, past Imara Daima, nothing much to report there. We're taking a look at Southern Bypass, Nikosawa. Langata Road 2 is looking good. Just a bit of a slowdown as you get to Wilson Airport, but that is outward, not towards the town. Mbagathi Way is looking clean this morning. Jogoo Road, apart from the usual prestige, in hapo kuna kuanga na cross. Barabara ime cross hivi, na lights on both sides. Hapo ndio a bit slow, but it's to be expected. Lastly, take a look at Wayaki Way. And Wayaki Way, all the way past Loresho, Kangemi. Ukifika pale Nairobi School, a bit of a slowdown because of the bumps, but nothing to worry about. All the way into town, it's looking smooth. So it's easy traffic this Tuesday morning all across the city. So tuangazie masuala ya weather sasa.
Oh yes, and today we're taking a look at it courtesy of the Kenya Meteorological Department. Every single Tuesday they give our weather forecast for the next week, and for this, okay, imeamua tena ipote. Let me go back to the page itself. And tuangalie for the Kenya Met Department. Ndio hiyo hapo. So first off, they say the weather outlook. They give our weather forecast for the entire week. So for today until the 16th of September, so that you know how things are going to be looking like. And they say most parts of the country are going to generally be sunny and dry. And however, they say expect some light to moderate rainfall in some parts of the Central Highlands, as you can see on this particular map. Western Kenya, kama kawaida, Rift Valley, Lake Victoria Basin, and the coast. Now for extensive bit of how the hard daytime temperatures are going to be looking like. Tuangalie map yao, tuone how it's going to be. Maximum temperatures in degrees Celsius, less than 17, as they had rightfully said, Central Highlands, Rift Valley, the Lake Victoria Basin as well.
Basically, wanasema hiyo baridi ya July imekwisha, because I can see the green is very little. Yes. We have a lot of yellow and orange, and yellow is between 20 and 30 degrees. So yes. I think that's very comfortable weather.
Yes, so that is how the weather is going to be looking like the whole week from today until the 16th. Inile weather nasemanga kama unapanga kakitu vizuri, kaharusi, nini, get ready for that. Najua unaniangalia unashangaa, mbona unaongelelea harusi sana?
You never know. Unajua mwenyewe unasema kama kuna harusi inakaribia, tumaini kukula pilau sisi.
Let's take a look at some bits of the diary that you're going to be expecting. Now remember, today is the day 2 of the national mourning. According to President William Ruto, last week he had said that the flag in Kenya as well as for the ESC are going to be flown half-mast. So today is the national mourning, also going to be tomorrow, and then we're also going to be expecting a lot of activity at the hillside in Russia, where there was a dormitory fire on Thursday night. So we do expect more updates from the government spokesperson, that is Isaac Mwaura. Something else also happening at the Mombasa High Court today, the Shakahola hearing continues. It started, resumed yesterday. It continues all the way to the 12th of September. Something also happening today on Matters Health. There's going to be the launch of the National Clinical Guidelines for the Management of Common Mental Disorders. Now, the government is really big on this matter, so we do expect this particular bit from the government as well. That, a lot more, right here, right now, today in history.
Today in history. On September 10th, 1991, the South African government passed the Abolition of Racially Based Land Measures Act, one of the last pieces of apartheid legislation to be repealed, marking an important step in dismantling the apartheid regime.
All right, yes, and we start off with the Star because they say smart people read the Star. Ndo hii. Sharp divisions marked Ruto's 2-year rule. It means that the Star has gone ahead and already prepared a very interesting piece on pages 4 and 5, marking William Ruto's 2nd year as president. Remember, he was sworn in on date 13th of September. Yes, which is about 2-3 days away. Yeah, so they're talking about his achievements, including reducing the price of unga from 130 to 100 bob for 2-kilogram packet, stabilizing the Kenya shilling against the dollar, completing the Kenol-Sagana Road, creating 160,000 jobs through affordable housing, some 112,000 housing units completed, employment of 56,000 teachers, and streamlining of the competency-based curriculum. These are on the front page of the Star this morning. Once again, smart people read the Star. Another offering on this paper today, which is a free copy, is the MyGov pullout.
Yes.
So inside You can get the government tenders and job opportunities. MyGov pullout iko kwa hii gazeti peke yake hauipati kwingine. And it's free.
It's free.
And it's free. So you better grab yourself a copy of the Star today.
Meanwhile, I think it would be prudent in your view to be about 2047. Do you agree with this achievements that the Star has out here for us? As listed there, you can look at them. Do you agree with all of them, any of them? Mtuambie. Meanwhile, other conversations pale chini, they say family of Kware killings victim demands closure. That is on page 2.
Wengine hapo wanasema kuna low uptake ya protection. Why we are not using any protection? Now these are sex workers. Now overcoming stigma, struggles and triumphs of sickle cell advocates. Now that's the Star this morning, and ndio tumeanza naye. People Daily, matters economy.
It's Mbadi's first tax headache. Mbadi is the new Cabinet Secretary of Treasury, John Mbadi. After fall of Finance Bill 2024, Ruto's new Treasury wonk proposes to lower VAT, value-added tax, from 16% to 14% to assuage hungry and angry Kenyans on page 4.
And I check it, striking a balance between
hungry, angry.
The cost of living and politics as well, because hapo amecheza kasiasa kidogo.
All right, another face that you'll see in other dailies as well today. The Deputy Inspector General, say police chief faces
the acting IG, right?
Acting, yes. Yeah. Police chief faces 6 months in jail.
Unaona kama it happen. Kuna stories zingine watu naambiwa hapa, lakini kusema ukweli tu. There's a story here about devolved money agony in counties. Counties are yet to receive a lot of money. There are some of them have not paid their workers for about 2 months. Washida pale county.
You know, speaking of counties, on the very top strip of Nairobi's cleanup war and missing litter bins. Watu wamepeleka wapi litter bins bana? There's Taifa Leo.
Kuna Taifa Leo pande huu. Jeshi la Gachagua laonya serikali au usishike mlima. Wataka vyombo vya dola visitumiwe na DCI kumtisha bwana Gachagua na maagizo ya mahakama yaheshimiwe. Wandani wa naibu wa rais wanataka afisi yake iheshimiwe, isipunguziwe bajeti na serikali komeshe kampeni za kuhujumu juhudi zake za kupalilia umoja mlima Kenya. Wadai bajeti ya mageuzi ya kilimo mlimani pia imekatwa ili kumkata miguu. Bali kwenye kurasa wa pili, na kuna wakisema jeshi, wanajeshi ni kama Mutahi Kahiga, gavana wa Nyeri, Jane Kihara, mbunge wa Naivasha, James Gakuya, mbunge wa Embakasi Kaskazini, unaitwaje?
Edward Muriu, mbunge wa Gatanga.
Joe Nyutu, seneta wa Murang'a, na Benjamin Gadhiru anaitwa Major Donk, mbunge Embakasi ya Kati.
Askari mkuu pale Masengeli asema kaimu inspector Masengeli kuhukumiwa Ijumaa hii. Kaimu inspector generali wa polisi apatikana na hatia kwa kukaidi koti mara ngapi? Wanafunzi mara 7.
Mara 7. Unajua kwa Biblia wanasema usamehe mtu mara ngapi?
Inakuwa mara 7 zaidi ya unazidisha.
Kama yake ni 7 tu. Well, but you never know. Unaona kama atahukumiwa.
Bora asiguze mlima.
Asiguze mlima. Mbadi ahidi kupunguza ushuru wa VAT, tushaongelea hayo, na shinikizo Joho, Mvurya na Kingi waungane. Hawa ni mawaziri pamoja na speaker wa Senate. Masuala mengine pale juu ukiangazia pia spoti ya kupale juu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Taifa Leo. Tuangazie gazeti lingine la Daily Nation, ambapo kuna hadithi pale juu. Wanasema Mohamed Dida, anaitwa Mohamed Abduba Dida, wale wanaweza mkumbuka, the former teacher who twice ran for president and finished ahead of some established politicians, is serving a 7-year sentence in a US prison. Now, this is one thing that not many people have had knowledge of, because there's someone on X who tweets using Mwalimu Abduba Dida's name. So we are not so sure, was it him? Now that we know, because everyone has been assuming that's Abduba Dida tweeting from the US, somewhere in the US. If at all he's in prison, is it really him who has been sending out those tweets? He's been very critical of the government as well. Dida is held at the Big Muddy Correctional Center in Illinois, where he has been since November 18, 2022, after being found guilty of stalking and intimidating an unidentified individual in the Midwestern US state. Now, you can read more on that story on page 3. It's actually a full page.
Yes.
Full page on Abduba Dida.
Apparently, he's been held there since the 18th of November, 2022. Why?
Asema, from grace to grass, volunteer imam files petition of alleged violation of his right to practice Islam. Former teacher has been detained in Illinois since 2022 after being found guilty of stalking and intimidation.
Yes.
Mohammed Abdu Badida.
So in case you're trying to calculate the 7 years, he's expected to walk out of jail on the 3rd of April, 2029.
Tutakuwa tu tumebakisha miaka kadhaa kabla election. Anakuja around for 2032.
2032,
bado wako na miaka. All right. But the main story is about what's happening at Endarasha, 5 days of anguish. 140 parents have confirmed they have their children at home. So this accounts for some of those children who had been reported missing, but were not part of the 21 who had been confirmed dead. Parents who have been waiting for 5 days to know the fate of their children are in agony as a painstaking DNA analysis on casualties of the Hillside Endarasha fire began. Yesterday, they turned up at Narumoro Hospital mortuary as they sought to know whether their children are among the dead or not, though tests likely to take some time. Other papers are reporting that this could actually take a month plus. That story is on pages 4 and 5. We had some accounts from some of the parents who are yet to know the fate of their children, and it is a very sad time indeed, even as the nation continues on its second day of national mourning. Matters Mlima Kenya, Gachagua to Ruto address these 6 grievances. Na ni kama wametoa gloves sasa. Sasa gloves hakuna, sasa kama kaende.
There's somewhere I heard the deputy president telling one of the MCAs that mimi sitakudanganya. Hii barabara wacha tuende tu tuangalie. Vitu zingine nitakwambia yes.
Mimi sitadanganya.
And that is very interesting because when you take a look at now, previously the dynamics that were there was the leaders would stand on top of vehicles and say, hii barabara itakuwa.
Just promises
itakuwa
all over.
Sahi no. Sahi mimi sitaki kudanganya. Let us go and review and then
when you say utaki kudanganya, nani ndio udanganyana?
Je, wajua nani udanganyana? Mimi sitasema.
University students defy their leaders, stage demos of a new funding model. You know, the leaders, student leadership of universities had called off their strike on Sunday night.
Yes.
After the CS for Education came up with 2 committees to review the university funding model. You know, wanafunzi wamesema, in fact, hata our leaders hatuwajui. Sisi tuko kwa barabara.
Wow.
Meanwhile, police have been spying on judge in Masengeli case. Now, this is a different angle altogether.
Yes.
The same judge that now convicted the acting IG of police for contempt of court. Now, it is said that a senior police officer, Lazarus Opicho.
Yes.
Has been ordered to appear before court on Friday to explain why he was calling Lawrence Mugamba's driver and bodyguard. Now, Lawrence Mugamba is a judge.
Lawrence Mugambi's driver, yes.
A bodyguard sticking to know his whereabouts. Walikuwa natafuta yule judge. Hiyo story ya wanafunzi iko kwenye back page ya Daily Nation. You can read more on that. Meanwhile, the Education Ministry has been directed to establish standards and quality council in 60 days. That's the Daily Nation today.
And on the very top strip pale at the back page, something I'd forgot to mention in the diary as well, Harambee Stars is going to be facing Namibia today at the Orlando Stadium in South Africa. Going to be playing the second match on Group J, AFCON qualifiers, AFCON 2025 qualifiers. And now this is one of the biggest, should be one of the biggest matches because the last time walicheza na Zimbabwe kule Uganda, walitoka barren draw 0-0. So hii wakishindwa ole wao. Morocco tutaonea TV47 digital. On the Standard.
Officer gone rogue. Yes, they're focusing on this acting police IG who for the 7th time disobeyed the courts. The court found him guilty of contempt and will punish him. Whereas lawyers want him declared unfit to hold office, there are families clinging to hope their abducted loved ones are still alive. So the sentencing is set for Friday. We await to see what the courts will say. Matters in Endarasha, parents to wait a month for people's identity. It's been 5 long days, they still do not know.
Yes.
Now they have to wait for another month. Can you imagine the anguish and agony that any parent who's yet to see his son is going through?
That should be one of the, first of all, the longest 5 days that even a parent has ever gone through. And then a whole other month.
Gojea mwezi ingine.
Now that feels like a year.
Yeah. Using tech to help mothers deliver is another story on this paper. Pressure on banks to trim interest rates, and even sports. Pale juu, while why NEP leaders snubbed DP's current meeting. These are leaders from northern Kenya. Waliitwa mkutano, wakasema sisi na watu wa Mlima
msituguze.
Chinese look to Nairobi for investment, of course coming hot on the heels of the president's trip to Beijing, China.
Yeah.
Historian Harris will beat Trump. Another sports.
They're set to have the
very first debates.
Yes.
Organized by, is it CNN?
I believe so. This is going to be one very, very interesting.
Tomorrow tutakuwa hapa tuone nani aliweza.
We'll be there no matter what.
Yes. On the back page of the Standard, they focus on Cristiano Ronaldo. It's 901 goals and counting for Cristiano.
Buzi mwenyewe.
Well, he struck late to seal Portugal's win over Scotland in Nations League tie.
Lakini Erling Haaland anakuja sana pia.
All right, that's the Standard.
Yes. And
kulikuwa na masuala ya biashara.
Oh, yeah,
tuliruka pale.
Old Mutual disowns 3.9 billion cash shillings buildings in shareholder row. So in context, they say the insurer, which is Old Mutual, assets wrongly included in sell freeze by Tycoon. And they also say report linked property to subsidiaries until the 31st of December. The shareholder fight at Old Mutual has turned the spotlight on the ownership of 3 properties worth a total of 3.9 billion after the insurer distanced itself from the assets. Matters Hustler Fund back on the dailies. They have a photo of the cooperatives and SMEs CS weekly for Paranya. Over half of Hustler Fund borrowers default as bad loans rise. Say more than half of borrowers under the Financial Inclusion Fund or ukipenda Hustler Fund have defaulted on repayments totaling to 11 billion cash shillings, underscoring the challenge the government faces trying to recover the money.
All right, Matters Hustler Fund. Let's now take a look at the cartoons as we wrap up this news review.
Na ni kama leo cartoonists walisema nyinyi wawili focus on Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, alafu nyinyi wengine focus on Rigathi.
Stima. So on the Standard, they go with the Matters electricity supply. And there's a room in darkness there and a caricature of the new CS for energy, Opiyo Wandayi, with a lantern. And he's trying to connect, they're looking for electricity using a lantern. This is Kenya Power. Same script, different cast. So before that it was CS Chirchir for energy, now it is Opiyo Wandayi. Lakini giza ni ile ile. Dust na giza watu wataendelea kuona. It's a constant.
The same gentleman alikuwa anasema mtu akiona hiyo darkness hivyo resign. So
will he resign?
Yeah.
That's the Star's cartoon today. This one is the Standard. They're talking about masuala ya Mlima and the deputy president's position inside government. He's carrying his seat and he's saying it is a broad-based government, yes. It is a welcome move. But kiti ni yangu. Hii kiti nimeenda nayo.
Something he was talking about in Kayole on Sunday.
Yes. He said if you find an empty seat,
nichukueni lakini
lakini ile imekaliwa wachana nayo. Hii ndio Mlima.
Usiguze.
Siguze.
On People Daily, Stano's Take, they go with the conversations about the recent, imefanyika every Friday, last Friday, and last Friday but one.
Nationwide
power blackout. And this commentator is asking, with these frequent power outages, the future of our electric vehicles is in darkness. And ameka hapo hakuna, literally inafekwe hakuna matata sako, lakini yoti ya mwisho imetolewa, hakuna matata sako.
Can you imagine a nationwide power blackout na hii gari hajachajiwa na mmepanda matatu, naomba sasa lazima tungoje stima irudi. Kenya Power amefanya ile kitu. So lazima tungoje stima irudi ndio tuendelee na safari. Now finally, the Daily Nation, back to Malta's politics, the deputy president there, and you know, there's a lot of traps all over this cartoon. But the constant is a seat.
Yes.
The DP seat that is there on the Standard is the same one here. The deputy president's seat now, they say the deputy president is putting traps around his seat. Initially, the traps were around State House. Inasa amesema hii kiti usiguze.
Usikalie.
Hii ni kama Mlima. Political temps.
A thermometer there and anasikiza ground.
Anasikiza ground. Lakini kiti ya deputy president, it is not vacant.
Yes.
That's what the deputy president says. Wetafute ingine yenye iko vacant. All right, these are just some of the big discussions today, but remember, on our conversation today, we are focusing on something totally different. We'll be having officials from the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry explaining to us what they do and what they're looking forward to and how you can plug into that discussion as well. How much do you know about the National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and how you as an entrepreneur or an SME or a business person in Kenya or a trader or merchant for that matter can plug into that and get benefits as well? That after the break, don't go away. But yes, later on, that very interesting conversation about...
Yes, at 8 a.m. we're asking you, gentlemen, Karibia TV niuliza tena swali. What will you do if you discovered that you're raising a child who isn't biologically yours? What will you do?
Utafanya.
If the woman tells you, or rather you come to find out that hapana, imapua, but haifanani na mimi, and then you do a DNA test, you realize, no, this is not my child. We'll be discussing the legal consequences of that with Paul Macharia. He's an advocate of the High Court. Later on at 9 a.m. we get into some safety tips just for you as a road user. Do you follow all the traffic rules that are there? There are quite a bunch of them, by the way, and we'll be having an NTSA traffic and road manager and also a border user as well. You can always be part of that conversation and all the conversations that we're going to be having right here. 22047 is our SMS number. Usibanduke.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism, how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights,
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
strategies,
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
and stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and
All right, welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV 47 with me, Fred Indimuli. Time for us to get down to a discussion this morning. Now, you may have heard about the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. What exactly does it do? How can you plug in as a trader or an entrepreneur or an owner of a small or medium enterprise? Today, that's a conversation we're having, and we're privileged to have in studio beginning on my immediate right, and Phoebe Njage. She is a chair lady, KNCCI Women in Business Nairobi. It's a pleasure to have you at TV47. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Alongside Phoebe Njage, we have Joel Cheriot Sum, KNCCI Diaspora Committee. Karibu sana.
Pleasure.
We're hoping that Virginia Waringe will be joining us for this conversation. But let's start off. A lot has been said about KNCCI, Chamber of Commerce. Many people do not know what it is. Let's start from there. What exactly do you do at the Chamber of Commerce? What is it? Njage.
Good morning, everyone. Chamber of Commerce is we are linked to the market, between the business community and to the markets and to the government. We mostly do advocacy and help business people scale up to the higher levels in their businesses.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting. There are so many businesses, and in fact, in comparison to those people who are employed, entrepreneurs form the bigger population. So, Bonasum, how do these people plug in when it comes to the National Chamber of Commerce?
Thank you for having me. Basically, you can register through our portals at KNCCI, and all Kenyans are invited to be involved, because this is the unifying factor that brings all the businessmen together, and also as we age into the manufacturing level of looking at 2030 vision on the bottom-up economics.
All right. You mentioned that people are invited to join. So it is a voluntary membership. To explain that mechanism, how exactly do people get involved with the KNCCI?
How exactly you get involved with KNCCI? It's a membership body whereby, because of the values we offer to the people, you find that there is more you can get and gain from KNCCI. So you get to register, and we have different forms of membership whereby, depending on your level and capacity of your business, that is where you'll be able to plug in. If you're a small scale farmer, there's a package for you. If you're a big exporter, there's a package for you. If you're a government person, there's a package for you. All sectors are very well taken care of at the chamber.
I'm thinking because it's a membership, it comes at a cost?
It comes at a cost, very affordable cost, depending on your sector, where you are in your business. Yes.
All right. So recently there was this trip to China by the president, last week actually. A lot of trade talk was there, and one wonders, was the Chamber of Commerce represented in that entourage by the president, and in what capacity? Bonasum.
Yes, yes, the chamber is always involved when His Excellency the President is going out in all the missions that involve Kenya. So in this case, yes, we were involved, and we have a follow-up roadshow that will be coming on November, and we actually invite all the Kenyans to join us during that roadshow. And the roadshow itself, it is dubbed Chenghe Roadshow, which will be involving two cities, the main cities in China, that is Shenzhen and Beijing, on follow-up on the president's visit, by the fully organized by the Kenya Chamber of Commerce.
And we'll come back to that issue about the events and what to expect in the coming months. But many Kenyans are wondering, okay, so there was a Chinese trip. There were discussions about trade, manufacturing. Many people here in Kenya probably do not have that communication. So what are some of the direct benefits that probably the chamber or the larger entourage managed to secure for the Kenyan trader and SMEs?
Yes, in this case where we sit as a chamber, we are the medium to link the businesses in Kenya and the businesses in China to do business. Because we are the trusted entity that can link these businesses. You know, there have been conmen or maybe briefcase companies. So briefcase companies also exist in China, and the chamber is taking its space right now to seal those loopholes, whereby you will have our Kenyan businessmen and Kenyan businesses being conned by business in China. So we are getting involved in that, in this very high level. And actually we also have gone further and have our offices also being opened in China as KNCCI, to be able to support all our Kenyan businesses to do very clean business as our members. But it doesn't stop there. It doesn't mean when you're not our member, you cannot transact with us as KNCCI. So we all Kenyans are involved, are welcomed. Doing business through KNCCI, your safety begins there.
Okay. And is it something that you've done in other areas as well? Because now you say you've opened a KNCCI office in China. Has it happened in any other jurisdiction?
Yes.
Okay, I allow them to introduce Virginia Warwinge, KNCCI
Yes.
Business Strategy.
Yes.
Karibu sana, you found us right in the middle of this conversation.
Asante
Probably you could take it
sana.
up from there.
And thank you for having me as well. And I think maybe this also speaks to our long-term strategy as a chamber. So by the end of the year, we should be having our offices open in Dubai. And then, of course, to also facilitate between trade and Dubai. Previously, we've also had, I know we've had an opportunity also to set up also a satellite office in the UAE, in Sharjah to be specific, where the chamber was allocated offices by the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce. And we're also expecting, also by the end of the year, to have also an office in DC. We are also increasingly seeing a lot of, partnerships and engagements between Kenya, Africa, with the US market, and so that is also to facilitate trade. And also maybe just also to pick up with what my colleague here has spoken, and just speaking to the head of state's visit, there were 10 pillars that were the government, the President Xi Jinping of China signed with the various, with the African heads of state. And those 10 pillars, those are the priority areas that are going to be, that have been identified by China as priority areas to formulate the framework of the collaboration between Kenya and China. And so what we expect even for us as private sector is, because most of the agreements have been signed from a government to government level, is that now they'll be cascaded down to us as a Chamber of Commerce, and then we're able now to cascade down to the members. And so maybe just quickly, so there's an element of mutual in terms of civilization, there's trade and prosperity, there's industry chain, there's connectivity, we have development, health and wellness. So just, key areas that will bring the two, if you could possibly say the two continents, because it was an entire Africa. We had quite a number of heads of states who were represented in that forum, and the China and the Chinese, so to speak. So what we're looking for in the coming days is now for government through, of course, the Ministry of Trade, the State Department of Trade, Investments, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to bring them down to us. It's discussions we've been having also with government, that when they sign agreements at the global level, to bring them down to us as a private sector to be able now to flesh them out. Okay. I think there's one that they also signed with the UAE. His Excellency, the Honorable Prime Minister, about 3 weeks ago, also in the UAE. Even that we're expecting specific benefits, especially in terms of retail and opportunities for business between Kenya and the UAE. And what we're increasingly seeing is government is negotiating at a point of business, not individual. So where a business is able to go and transact and do business with another nation. So slightly shifting in terms of their policy away from being in terms of individuals.
Okay, thank you for elaborating on that. But back to the issue of membership, one would wonder, and I want to assume I'd mentioned that even people who are not non-members, even business people who are not non-members, could still benefit from this. So one wonders also, what is a point of membership, and why do you feel that businesses in Kenya should be members or should register with the National Chamber of Commerce and Industry? What other benefits do they stand to gain from just being members?
Why you would be a member of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce is because of the benefits you'll gain from being a member. Mm-hmm. When you're not a member, it's not the same as when you're a member. Because when once you join, there will be some facilities which you're given to, like for instance, when the president is going for those functions abroad, as a business person who is a member of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, you'll be informed about it and may be invited to go with them. When investors come to the country and they're looking for who to invest with, we will go to our database of the members and be able to link them up with the right person. So creating the market linkages. If you're a member and you have something which is not going so well, maybe with KRA, with any other government office, we will come in and advocate for you as our member. So those are some of the advantages you're going to have. And again, we'll be able to link you up in the expos, business expos, whereby we link the market to the person who needs whatever the person is producing. So those are most of the benefits you get when you're a member.
what kind of businesses register? Because I may feel that my business is a bit too small, or maybe I'm beyond the chamber. I'm such a big organization. Paint a picture for us on what kind of businesses actually do register as members.
The good thing about chamber is that we are all round. Even a student who is planning to open a business, meaning you're a youth, you can be a member of chamber. Why you be a member as a student or as a youth is that so that we can grow you up to be able to be market eligible, or even be able to attract the necessary people to make you grow in your business. If you're a mama mboga, SMEs and MSMEs, you can also be a member of the chamber.
Mama mboga can be a member of the
Yes, yes. And we usually do it in groups. That's a good thing. We can do it as individual and we do it in groups, because you see there's a mama mboga who only gets 100 shillings per day. There's a mama mboga who gets 1,000 shillings per day. So depending on your capacity as a mama mboga, you can join that. The boda boda sector, you join. The Uber sector, you join. If you're an exporter, we mean now the upper cadre of businesses, you can also join the chamber. So we are all round. We do not discriminate, and you have seen even the manufacturers are very well welcome. And also you see, if you're a manufacturer, some of the benefits you're going to get from chamber is that we're going to even to introduce you to the SEZs which we have in the country.
What are those SEZs?
Special economic zones.
Okay.
So it's all round.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that you're too small or you're too big for chamber.
Okay. And now, because we started this conversation about from the standpoint of the Chinese trip, probably one would wonder, is there any activity you do locally? We've just talked about exports and China, and it may sound like over the top for so many business people. What kind of activities does KNCCI engage in locally within the Kenyan borders, and how do they benefit these businesses?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that. You'd be amazed that actually the bulk of our engagements are done locally. So just to give you a snapshot of the chamber. So we're in the 47 chapters across the country. And then also we have our 48th chapter, which has been mentioned in Hunan province in China.
Chapters, a chapter in each county.
A chapter in each county with its own governance structure, with their own teams. And so they also carry out, we have activities at the national level, like now what we're speaking about, the head of state visit or advocacy, and also advocacy also happens at the chapter level. So at any given at any given moment, we have open days. So the chapters arrange for open days, networking forums at their level. And we've had successful activities across the country, from Busia to Wajir to Garissa, and all of it tied to specific economic zones. Because of course in the North Rift, you're looking at livestock sector. If you're looking in terms of the western part of the country, you're looking also at a sense in terms of blue economy. How do you drive the enterprise in terms of that particular segment? If it's within the Central Rift, we're looking at how do we support avocado farmers. And so they congregate and we have trainings. Matter of fact, I think in the coming week, we'll have a specific training for entrepreneurs in the avocado sector, just to show them what are the processes for you to be able to export, what are the requirements that are the requirements in terms of certifications do you require as you're exporting, what are the key markets, the price per, just to basically to support them in terms of that particular journey. And then so the chamber, we also work with development partners and just a cross-section of development partners and financial partners. So we do a lot of financial literacy training, because we have found one of the issues that entrepreneurs face is access to finance. And then the reasons why they're also not getting that access to finance is because they're not financially literate, and not in the sense of 1+1, but financially literate in the business sense, in terms of their bookkeeping, how do they understand in terms of their cash flow, how do they manage basically their day-to-day operations from a business sense. So we have trainings going on countrywide. We have one of our large development partners. Actually, we've undertaken over trainings in over 40 counties. Yeah, and then of course training women and youth as she has elaborated. The chamber is from the youth, MSME, SMEs. So they've been taken through also business development services. You know, how do you do your marketing as a business? How do you structure yourself? Even in terms of just communication, how do you communicate with your partners? How do you communicate your key selling points from a business perspective? So, we have, in fact, if you were to come to our offices today, you'd be amazed at the level of activity. So we have activities both at the chapter level, at the national level, and even now what I'm talking about, the 48th chapter, where last month we just had, actually 2 weeks ago, we had a delegation that was in China for a training, who just got back. They were taken through an agri-business training. They were there for 3 weeks.
That was way before even the president's trip.
Sorry, way before the head of state visit, and we had a team of about 10 from Kenya, and they were there for 3 weeks, fully paid for. You know, you're in class 7 days a week, and you're being taken through the various processes of agribusiness, because of course China is way ahead in terms of tech and in terms of their agri-technology, so to speak. And of course, I think in the coming month we'll also have also, in terms of our members who will be heading out for another training. So, and this is all supported by the various departments that we have internally. So we have departments that look out towards SME and development, we have trade and development, and then we also have membership and networking. Because one of the key elements that members come join the chamber is for the networking aspect. And so you find, even as much as we're looking for business abroad, or we're looking for business within the region, you probably find their fulfillment partner is within the country. But if you're not able to meet and interact and say, okay, fine, I have this particular product, you're the answer to my solution, or you have, you know, there's a need that you have that I'm able to meet. So we regularly now have the networking forums where we now bring in the various segments of the business. Sometimes they're sector specific, so we can have a manufacturing or a construction sector forum just to come and discuss about, you know, the nitty-gritties and the issues and the challenges in the sectors. And in other instances, we have now multi-sectoral in terms of forums, where now different sectors come and discuss and get to network. So that's, in a sense, is, and of course, the other critical department we have is the policy and advocacy, who now, for them, is now they push, whether it's with the government, the county governments, you know, to make sure that we have favorable tax and policies that are favorable to the business. So we're very active in the recent, what was set aside, the Finance Bill 2024. So Chamber, we also made our submissions. We are happy that there were some considerations that government actually took into consideration, like, you know, there were some punitive taxes for SMEs. And we continue to, my colleagues now in advocacy, they continue to push. There was some, you know, with government, and just letting them know that these levies are not pro-business. We need to set this aside. And
we'll come back to discuss the business environment and how KNCCI can make it more favorable for the businesses in Kenya. You're watching Morning Cafe right here at TV47. Let's take a short break. We'll be back to continue this conversation with these officials from the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. You're watching Morning Cafe.
Hey there, friends! Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching Morning Cafe on TV 47 with me, Fred Ndimuli. We continue this conversation with my lovely panel here made up of officials and members of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We're talking about enabling industrialization and manufacturing. And this comes hot on the heels of that head of state visit to China last week, which came with a lot of goodies. Whether or not Kenyans have accepted them or are ready or it has been broken down to them, we have to wait and see. So I'm still in studio with Anne Phoebe Njagi, Chair Lady KNCCI Women in Business Nairobi, Joel Cheruiyot Sum, KNCCI Diaspora Committee, and Virginia Waruinge, KNCCI Business Strategy. Now, let's take a look. And Virginia, you had just talked about the business environment, but I'd like Bwana Sum to give us an input here about that issue, business environment. If you look at the cartoons this morning from the 4 major dailies we have, 2 of them are about the power blackouts by Kenya Power. We're talking about electric cars, and for the past 1 month, we've had about 4 nationwide power blackouts. Virginia had mentioned about the finance bill 2024. On one of the dailies, we have the Treasury CS talking about the possibility of reducing VAT from 16% to 14%. Okay. Now, it is a very big conversation. And from your assessment as a member of KNCCI, how is a business environment currently? Because many people are saying, even in terms of attracting direct foreign investment, we are not sitting very pretty.
Yes, I want to say it's very unfortunate in this, what happened a couple of days ago. It has affected our businesses, and in this case, probably we are pleading with government in this to help and maybe diversify and look for more power providers so that it can help now in this journey to do industrial revolution, which I think it will be a way to go for our country. It is not only our business that got affected, even our homes also got affected. We had a lot of goods spoiled. Yes, so I think from where we are also engaging a lot of foreign investors from where we sit as a chamber to come into the country and also be part of pushing.
It must be challenging in the current business environment, trying to attract people to come to Kenya, and we have blackouts. We're still discussing the almost punitive tax regime for the chamber.
Yes, it is. You see, it goes a long way. You see, we also are engaging the partners who are also willing to also push more power into the grid. And maybe look for multiple sources where we can have our power into the grid, so that when the other side of the lines get affected, you are able to get another source where you can actually push into the grid. So we, in this case, also engaging as KNCCI investors who are in solar power generation. That is coming a long way to also add more power, and we also have geothermal. so we are looking into it and involving a lot of our partners and in discussions also with government to see how we our business can be secured.
Okay.
In terms of power outage most at times.
But KNCCI acting as a linkage between even local businesses and foreign businesses, it must be quite a burden for the chamber to try and ensure that this environment is conducive for business, not just for the local businesses, but even for those you're trying to invite to come our way. How are you dealing with that?
In spite of the negatives, that is the taxation and the corruption and the business environment, we also have the positives in this country. For instance, we are very strategically located geographically. Kenya is like the hub in Africa for business to trade. And then if you look at it in matters of like technology, we were the first to introduce M-Pesa, a platform which is being used now almost worldwide. So that is another thing, if we improve on it as a country, as a positive thing in the country, it's going to improve on the businesses. Again, if you look at it, that the tradition in Kenya, in every 5 people, at least 3 have done business. So we have a culture of trade. If we maximize on that, with the positive things which we have, like now the trainings on how to be ready for business, and then the partners which we are having who are going to help us to be able to scale up our business, may it be financially, may it be economically, may it be in the markets. Once we are able to maximize on that as a chamber and as a country, we are going to scale up. Again, if you look at the manufacturing sector in Kenya, we are trying to encourage the business community to be able to be self-reliant. Like what my colleague has said here, in matters of the blackouts, we are having partners who are willing to come and bring solar systems in the country. We are having other systems which can be able to, or which can be alternatives to the energy. And in matters of the training now, in matters like the TVET, we are getting into partnership so that we teach someone from a very early age how to be able to be self-reliant. You're taught how to manufacture something from from scratch. So, and then you, whatever you manufacture, you looked for the market. You're linked with the market for that thing. Again, besides that, now it's that part of the advocacy, which we are saying in matters of taxation or in matters of corruption, you'll find that it has to start and stop with us. As a business community. If you're going to a certain office and you're being told you need to give chai for you to get this license, you should say, I am not giving that chai. It has to start with us as a business people. Once we can speak one language to eradicate all these corruption practices, we are going to get somewhere. In matters of licensing and all that, we are making sure that the license which is needed is what you're having. For instance, we are coming up with a conversation which is asking, I have registered my business today, and you want to tax me from today. Where am I getting that money for you to tax me? I haven't even started working. How about I will pay what is necessary, and then maybe from the 5th year you can be able to tax me. So those are some of the things we're looking to in matters of advocacy to make the business environment more conducive. Yes.
And when it comes to advocacy, of course, on this issue of taxation and the tax regime we're currently facing, because it is clear Treasury is reworking.
Yes.
And we do not know the product that will come out of that. But there's the issue of public participation that many people have been debating on whether or not it is really working. And I'm thinking that's how you plug in and that's how you conduct your advocacy. How successful have you been?
Oh, is that?
Yes, Virginia.
Yes, Fred. The one thing I must, and just now speaking, not from a chamber perspective, just even me as an individual, the agitation that we just saw the other day, and we had, it was really good in terms of deep issues are being spoken about. But I feel that the one thing that us as Kenyans, we must understand, the window for public participation is the most important window. Like what we just saw in the finance bill. So as a chamber, what we do is we reach out to our members and get their views. And so that now it can form, as an association now, we go and sit with government and we tell them, no, this particular proposal that you want to put in place, this is the impact it's going to have in terms of the business community, in terms of, and the long-term impact, I mean, we had discussions around excise duty from 14 to 15 days. There was the increase in terms of railway development levy. To be honest, this finance bill, it had some good things, but now even the bad things, the punitive taxes were a bit, there was the penalty for SMEs who default on e-tax. I think it was going to some astronomous amount, per month, to the point where you start asking yourself, is there a lapse between the person who's writing and actually understanding what that small business is going through, given that some of these interventions that were put in place by government, whether it's e-teams, which personally I think is a good initiative, and Kenya, we're actually quite behind in terms of implementing it from a global perspective. But we should also give it time for businesses to understand why we're doing it, the long-term impact for it. Not everything that is put there is a whip for, where government is coming to whip you. But also, you also must give time and room for people to understand, internalize, and set up the systems for them to be able to roll out and effectively. So public participation is very, very key. Out of the 10 submissions that we made to the Public Finance Committee, and of course we had our team in policy and advocacy actually go and sit with the committee. So 7 out of 10 were considered. So look at it from the other aspect. If as a chamber you never went and sat with them, because of course you have to do your submission, go and sit and you take them through the entire process, and sat out there and said, oh, then government is not going to come and ask you, okay, tell me where you're feeling the pain. It is for us to go and tell them, no, this is actually retrogressive, this is actually retroactive, it's going to take us back. And then now for them to actually get a sense of, because some of these people, when they're writing, they're looking at it from a bureaucratic perspective. You know, the economists were seated, and I'm not bashing, I mean, we work very closely together and we respect them, but you know, it could be from a one-side perspective. So the public participation allows for everyone to come together and look at it and say, okay, fine, how is this going to work? How are we going to do this? And I must say that I think this year we've seen the highest level of participation in terms of on any particular issue, I mean on a given issue, than what we saw in terms of the finance bill. Because we had our teams now go to the Public Finance Committee at our chamber president, Dr. Eric Ruto, and also some of our directors also got a sit down with the head of state to now go through the finance bill. I don't know whether many Kenyans are aware. I think there was a round table that was actually called and
So
chaired
the
by
chamber gets
the...
involved at that higher level.
Yes. We actually sit down now with the head of state, the chamber president now, and of course now with the directors. You know, I don't know, our hierarchical structure at the head of our institution is the chamber president, and we have the vice president, we have the directors. So our level of advocacy is at the highest level where you sit now with the head of state. And this was actually the fourth, because prior there were 3 other roundtables that also the chamber president and of course we have other also private sector players, and you go and sit down with him and you tell him, okay, this particular sector, for us to be able to move from point A to B, these are the incentives that are required. You know, we need to, and I'll tell you, yes, he listens. He will sit down, he will listen, you guys will get to debate about it.
But in a round table, it's a give and take. And according to the president, there's a big burden in terms of employment and job creation.
Yes.
And the question is, when it comes to the Chamber of Commerce, how do you contribute to that conversation for the president to be able to listen to you on one side, naambia tutakusaidia namna hii kutafuta kazi za vijana? Bwana Sun.
When adding to what my colleague has just said, we are looking at the chamber, in this case KNCCI, as an advocate who is talking on behalf of the businesses. That's why we are asking more Kenyans to join the chamber in all gathers, as we've been told by my colleague, so that the chamber is able to talk on their behalf, to talk to the government on their behalf. Let's say we want to get involved in the manufacturing, from even as low as macro level. The chamber, as a member, one of the benefits is that the chamber will talk on your behalf to the government. So if you come as a team, as a group, so the government is actually willing to listen. The government listens to the chamber, what the chamber says, because the same business people are the same people who are the taxpayers and the ones who are supporting the Kenyan government to be where it is right now. So as we even speed up and increase our subscriptions across the country, from border borders, mama mbogas, as you've heard, I think that is where we are. We are talking on behalf of these businesses to the state in matters the taxes. Like my colleague has said, the startups. You know, you don't expect really me as a person to start a business today, and I'll be paying the taxes tomorrow. You need to support me as a government, to get a certain level where now I can be able to be sustainable to pay the taxes. So yes, as we rage and go to seek for partners to come invest in our country, and just knowing that our country is really in a very strategic location, as my colleague had said earlier. We are also looking at ourselves, and we are preaching to our Kenyan people that yes, we are also need to understand that we are in a strategic position, both in East Africa and Africa at large. So it is going a long way. It is something we really pushing very, very hard, so that we from the lower gather, we can get involved. and getting involved is now. Yes.
And on this issue of employment and job creation, KNCCI definitely stands at a very pivotal position in as far as that conversation is concerned. How do you plug into that conversation?
How we plug in the job creation is, first we are making the environment friendly for business. And then when we come to where to place who, how we are making it possible is through trainings. If I want to put you in a certain sector, I would we first make sure as Chamber that we have trained you well enough to be able to fit into that sector. And that's why we are encouraging, as a Chamber, we are encouraging trainings for what you can do best. Besides that, we train on readiness. How ready are you to be in the market and for the market? So that capacity building is what we are putting into place in a very high level at the Chamber.
Okay.
Another thing is this partnership with bodies, which will enable the SME to be able to be in business. Like what Virginia has said, we have partnered with bodies who have gone across almost all the 47 counties, training you on how to be ready for the market, training you on how to be ready for the investor, training you when the investor comes, how will you be keeping your books, how will you, even etiquette. We train all round at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce with partners who are experts in those areas. So once we train you now, we can push you to the market. And we are not just pushing you to any market. We are pushing you to the right market. So on the other side, we are looking at if a certain individual is good at dressmaking, how are we linking, to whom are we linking you up with? So we are going to do our due diligence as the Chamber and see that maybe there is a fashion industry in the UK who would want your services. So as a Chamber, we get you the dressmaker here in the country and link you up with this other person who needs your services. So that's how we are making the environment friendly.
Impressive.
Yes.
And there's a question of the skills gap. Yes, Virginia, if you could address that.
Okay. That's a very important question in terms of skills. And I think it all came out during, I know it's been what, is it 2 years post-COVID, so to speak, when literally the entire ecosystem was shaken and we had to develop new ways of working, look at new, global supply chains, and then there was a gap that we noticed between how we used to do business, especially our brick and mortar, and then how we want to do business moving forward. And so as a chamber, we've been collaborated with multiple partners. Again, allow me, but as recent as 2 weeks ago, we had a World Skills competition. And this was in collaboration with the TVET Authority. And I think this week we have the top finalists who are out, who've gone to Lyon, France to compete at the international level. And so that's just one. Others with other development partners in terms of digital skilling. So we've been at the forefront in terms of what came out is digitalization of businesses, and so that required now upskilling. And I'm not speaking because I think it became a classic, the Kawad during that time, during COVID, but there's actually a need for new skills development. And whether it's in terms of tech, even as basic as an entrepreneur, understanding how to, there's some things that we take for granted, how to market your business, how do you set up your website for you to be able to attract, to facilitate the linkages, So there's been a lot of work that we've done there. So both at a TVET level, at an enterprise level, because there's also a gap, a very huge gap in terms of whether it is just electrical skills, even what she's mentioned in terms of tailoring. I think last month we were in Nakuru and we have a very huge entrepreneur who runs, she does about 25,000 this African clothing per year, but we don't even have tailors.
Even plumbers, there's a shortage of.
We don't have, and so they are asking us, okay, because now for us we had just had an East Africa Live Fashion Show, and we had all these partners who had come in from China. garment. So China nowadays even does garment. Even this Ankara fabric, you'd be surprised some of it comes from China. And they're asking, can we get training from these garment manufacturers to come and train our tailors here in Kenya in terms of dressmaking? So there's been a shift. There's a shift in looking at skills from a broader perspective, you know. And I think as a country, as a people, as a business, we really have to take it like very keenly. Because like this week, the agreement that the head of state, is it this week or next week, he'll be in Germany, and there's an agreement that's coming, and that is also skills oriented. And I'm happy because I've seen they've developed a framework in terms of that. There's going to be training in terms of the German language. They have specific courses in terms of digital skills, or, you know, whether it's coding, for you to be able to access the jobs. So the skills we are looking at is we have to elevate. And the global markets are looking for more what do I say? I can't say, basically higher skills and how we've been doing things. And as a Kenya, I know my colleague has mentioned the aspect of M-Pesa. Now we need to move to the next phase. We're having India becoming one of the BPO in terms of outsourcing. India is huge in terms of tech. China is also huge in terms of tech. Actually, just this week I was seeing Apple, the CEO, Tim Cook, saying that the reason they go to China is not because of affordable labor. That's not it. China is not affordable, but it's because they can get the amount of skills they want within a specific area. So if they want, let's say, a specific engineering skill, they can get, you know, times 1,000 of that within a particular area, because the manufacturing of their products requires that particular skill. While out in the US, they cannot get maybe even 30 or 50 engineers within that particular space. But in China, they're able to get that level of skills in that particular area. So I think that's, as Kenya, because we're also positioning ourselves to be also a global supply chain. In terms of manufacturing, we have to start thinking that way. For us to attract the global manufacturers to come and set up here in Kenya, then that means we have to increase our skill base. Yeah.
And of course, before we even come to discuss the issue about the events that are coming up,
right?
How does the KNCCI align with the politics of the day? Because KNCCI has existed beyond, and it's transient. Quite a number of administrations have come and gone. Now, the current administration, the blueprint may remain Vision 2030, but may take an angle.
We're turning 60. We're turning 60. Yeah.
Yes. So in this conversation, you'll find yourself, you need to align with the government of the day and their projections. And for example, this Kenya Kwanza administration, they're looking at growing the manufacturing industry by 20% by 2030, and not focusing on probably something else that maybe the previous administration would have focused on. How does that work for the chamber?
Thank you, Mr. Ndimuli. You see, we in business, we are a non-partisan body. We are neutral, and that is why it has been able to be sustainable for a very long time. Since until now, the 60th year, we are still thriving, and we're even getting stronger and stronger by the day. Our subscriptions is getting enlarging, and we're even now getting more and more friends outside there because of the credibility that Kenya Chamber, with its force, or I can say the people working at the chamber, are very professional, and we stick to our lane of business, and in that we work with government of the day to push and to push our country. They also support us as a chamber, because without the businesses existence, also maybe the government might not exist, because of they go a long way with each other. In terms of, you've mentioned about the taxes, it's our members who pay those taxes. So in this case, there's nowhere we collide with the government. So we go together. And maybe speaking to the to a bit about maybe to the manufacturing. You know, there is this talk about, for example, the avocado. You see, right now we have probably also surplus and in the country, because when the government said let's grow the avocado, many Kenyans listened and did that. So what we are seeing again from the chamber is that we are now teaching our people to go high another level to do the value addition, because there will be more earnings when you do the value addition, and that is why we're going out of our way to show the Kenyans of interest where they can get the machineries to do the value addition. Because you can imagine the avocado, you can be able to get the oil out of it, the good oil. So with many farmers who have done planted the avocado, we can be able to get a large oil supply that can reduce the imports that are coming into this country, which amounts up to about 90% of our edible oil. So we are looking into up to macro level, where even a 2-acre farmer can be able to have his own machine, a mini or a macro machine, which is able to press out the oil. And it doesn't end there. We are also looking at how can you do with the residue that is remaining. That goes a long way also in doing the fertilizer, because again, to export some of the avocado, you need to use organic fertilizer. Yes, so now it goes a long way where we are going. It's a long journey, but we have started. We are starting this year to make sure we reduce also the number of exports to produce the oil from this avocado, and reduce the imports that we have, like from the edible oil.
Interesting. Let's now focus on what's coming up later this week, the 7th edition of the Kenya International Industrial Expo, Kenya Investment and Trade Fair 2024. It'll be happening this coming week. We're seeing from the 12th to the 14th. Yes?
Yes.
And probably, Jackie, you could start this one, and I'll give you an opportunity to tell us more about it. So what should be expected? What should businesses hope to see or find or experience at this expo?
What the businesses should be looking forward to is opportunity. It's like you're being given a blank check, because you're going to meet all the investors you have always wanted to meet. They will be there with you. So you'll be able to package your business as well as you can, so that you see if they can partner. Again, what you're going to get is expertise. You're going to get people who will be coming, who are well known for a certain sector in a certain industry. So besides doing business, it's also a learning curve. You'll be going to them and asking them, how have you managed to do this? Another thing we are looking into is that there will be an opportunity for you to scale up your income. Why? Because there will be buying and selling. There will be the MOUs being signed. There will be opportunities being presented. So, and that's why I'm saying it is a blank check. It is for the business person who is going to come and participate, who is going to know how much they're going to fill in that open check. And that's why we are inviting everybody who is in business or who is aspiring to do business to come for this event.
And when I mentioned about this fair, I saw Virginia's eyes light up.
Yeah.
You must be really excited about what's coming.
Yes, thank you for that, Fred. Yes, this is the 4th year the Chamber is participating in this particular expo, and we've seen it grow in leaps and bounds. From, I think, the first time they had about about 50 exhibitors. We started like literally during COVID. So even the ceremony, everything was being done, a large chunk of it was being done virtually. And now to the point where we're looking at 150 plus exhibitors who are coming from China just for this particular exhibitors. And then of course we have the Kenya Pavilion, which has also grown. We have from 20 last year to 30 Kenyan entrepreneurs who will be showcasing across different sectors. So while it's primarily we're looking at manufacturing in terms of engineering, electrical, those will be showcasing from China. From Kenya, we have the financial services, we have agri, we have crafts, and we even get the opportunity to even bring, Wamama Washanga, the ladies, we have exhibitors even come in, the ladies from Narok to just come and showcase their crafts. And you'd be amazed that actually those crafts are in such high demand in the China market, So it's an opportunity for us to showcase. So for us as a chamber, one of the things we keep talking about is the balance of trade is so huge between China and Kenya, and so we have to constantly work to reduce that, whether it's just to ensure, okay, have we opened up another line for honey? We have the government who opened up for avocado. We've been working, I think the ministry should be also maybe in the coming days open up for dried chilies, dried mangoes for us to be able to export. So this is now an opportunity for now business to come and showcase. You'll get your linkage, you get your opportunity. And before you know it, the next thing you're shipping containers off to China. We've had successes of entrepreneurs. I think there's a young lady who started even shipping, leather belts, leather crafts, off to China, and her business has grown. So it's just so it's an opportunity even for us. The other bit, I think, also on top of exporting is joint partnerships. So a lot of these exhibitors who come, of course, they're not going to stay here. They will leave immediately after, but they will also be looking for a partner to who they can collaborate with for them to advance their business interests now here in Kenya. So you find a lot of them are either looking for distributors, joint investment, So if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, and I think Kenyans we do have, I think it's something that is innate. We were given by God that we are all entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of opportunities for us there. So for us to tap in, and of course the entry is free. It starts on the 12th and up to the 14th.
At what venue?
At the Sarit Expo Center. Yes.
Right. And when I assume you're talking about avocado, and it's interesting that there's a lot of people in terms of value addition. A lot of people may not have the proper skill set or the kind of equipment. Now, is this the kind of thing that people should expect, that if I come at the expo, I may come out of there with better knowledge away from attending a regular trade?
I've just spoken about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is all the expos we organize among us. What is forthcoming is that you got to learn a lot of things. You got to know a lot of things. You get to understand how other people do businesses, and then we are able to go and replicate the same in all our businesses. You can get an idea. Even just walking in, you're able to go back with an idea. I assure you, you'll not go back the same.
True.
Try this. I ask Kenyans to try this and keep trying, because the building of our nation starts with us. It begins with us. So Virginia has spoken to it. Me is to just welcome all the Kenyans who will be available during that day to join, and I'm sure you will be able to learn something.
Okay.
This,
and you said that this is a fourth, yeah?
No.
So
seventh edition.
Seventh edition, yes. So many people have attended such. From the top of your head, are there any success stories that someone attended this expo, they came out of here with something, they've done great things out there? Any?
Yes, there are success stories. And not just for this expo, but in all the expos which we have done, at least 20 to 30% are usually success stories from the people we invite to come. There is, for example, we have a guy who does fish. He started with something like this in the expo, and now he's doing it big. There's that lady she has talked about who was doing leather belts, and now she's doing it big, amongst many other. So at least 20 to 30% are usually success stories, and now we want to scale it up. At least to go above average. And that's where you see, as our colleagues are saying, my colleagues are saying, we need to invite more and more and more people to get involved with Chamber and to get involved in these expos, because it is for our own benefits and for the benefit of this country. Yes.
Of course, it always starts in the mind. And you look at, if we could compare ourselves with our neighbors, Tanzania, we always, every morning we look at papers from Kenya and Tanzania. And last week, there was a lot of excitement in Tanzania about their president being in China and the benefits that they stand to accrue from that. They even had images of avocado on the front pages.
Wow.
We come back to Kenya and very little mention of that. Is it a challenge? Why, I may not call it pessimism, but is it skepticism that Kenyans are not as excited about the prospects of working with China?
No, I don't want to put me in a minefield.
No, it's something.
But I like what you said. I didn't even know the Chinese. I think it's a bit of skepticism, and I think. And just to pick up on what you said, even previously, before she went, I think last year, the whole country made a big ado. They said, oh, she's going to sign this XYZ in terms of contracts. I think, without going into the nuances in terms of the political, is there's a level of mistrust between us as the Kenyan people and with the government. And I'm not here to speak on government, but from a private sector perspective, and given that even for us as a chamber, we have an office in China. So when we have China, first and foremost, in the next 5 years, is going to be the #1 country, both in terms of economic, in terms of GDP. What Kenyans don't even know is right now, even getting into China, the visa process is quite lengthy. And we foresee in another few years, it's even going to be more. As the market, as the country keeps growing and expanding, it's going to be very difficult even getting into the Chinese market, you know, even for businesses. Even us as a chamber, we are constantly pushing and agitating here with the embassy. Please give us longer term visas for our people, members to actually go there and do business. So as much as maybe we may be averse, we also must be very clear about the geopolitical, is it a geopolitical, we must be geopolitically awareness that it's a superpower. So we cannot avoid doing business with China. And China is the #1 trading partner for Africa. I was just looking at stats for 14 years in a row. It's been the #1 trading partner for Africa as a continent. And so we also must look at ourselves and try and understand, why does Africa look towards China? I remember even when Kibaki started going to China, there was a lot of mamas. Why are we facing West? We have our traditional, we're used to doing business in terms of the UK market. No one understood. Actually, in fact, Kenyans need to understand, it has not started with the current, His Excellency, the President, William Ruto. It started with Kibaki. Kibaki is the one who started the shift and started pushing us towards the China market, which goes to say, for any country, you must have multiple trading partners. I don't want to now start going to history. We start talking about, you know, the Silk routes, the nations, the way they used to go to look for different markets. But you must have diverse trading partners. You must be constantly looking for new partners. For us as a country, the way we have hacked, and he'll come in because I know he has a bit of expertise, our #1 trading partner, whether it's tea, you know, most of the commodities has been the UK and the EU. And that's why I think we're also quite celebrated in terms of the EU Economic Partnership Agreement, because we've seen we should be able to expand in terms of, or rather increase in terms of our revenue. But given our economic situation in the country, we cannot just look at one particular market. And that's why you see there's a big push to open up China. Because if China can be open to us as a country, the way the EU has been open to us as a country, and where we're able to get more commodities into the market. You know, we started with tea, we've tried honey, we've tried crafts. I don't even think we've even pushed
Do you find that as a challenge for the
horticulture.
chamber, just changing the mindset of Kenyans in approaching the Chinese market?
It is, even for me, because don't forget we're 844 products. Sisi tunajua UK, and the US.
Okay.
You know, we know these are the core markets. But even the geopolitical, these markets are shrinking. So we cannot sit here and look at shrinking. And we have our tea, matter of where our members are telling us, listen, we have tea, we need new markets for tea. We have honey, we need to push. So what do we have to do? We have to, as a chamber, now look for new routes. Now we're back in the 1800s, when people are looking for new trading partners and new routes. So as a chamber, we're looking for new, or rather we're expanding in terms of our trading partners. We're looking for new market routes, new market linkages, and you're looking at a population of how many billions, and in terms of GDP?
1.5, almost 1.6 billion shillings.
Billion. And the GDP, you know, some of the provinces in China, my God, if you look at the level of tech, the level of technology in that country is so advanced. And we can borrow some of that even to bring it here to our industries. It is not going there to sit there and work. It is going there, pick the technology. We have our members who, even when they go there, we tell them, don't go there with a one mindset and saying, the way maybe my colleague has spoken about avocado, go there and learn.
Okay.
Go there and learn, see what are they doing in terms of their agribusiness practices. What are they doing? Right now, I think just last month there was an agreement that was signed for electric manufacturing. There was a delegation that came in from one of the top provinces of China for electric car manufacturing assembling that is going to start in Kenya. That is now what we want, that when you go there, what are the partnerships that you can bring here to enable us now even to advance both from a tech perspective, innovation, and innovation which you're carrying across in terms of all sectors, even education. We've had, this year we had scholarships that we actually had shared with our members. We had got scholarships for undergrad and masters, fully paid for in tech. Now, where I will say is, I know by the way, I'm a person of arts, as much as we see STEMs, but I feel there's a space for both. But we didn't have too many applicants because most of the scholarships were technological.
Science-based.
They were science-based. And here you're talking about free scholarships. But someone is telling you, no, this is a direction I want to go. So even us, we have to shift and understand that we have to become more adventurous. Go and see, what have these people done? What is this that I can bring back here and do? And what is this that they have done that they've been able to be very successful? Because if you look at it, they've done it in under what, 100 years?
Yeah.
In under 100 years. Because it took the shift of one, is it called General Mao? Actually,
Yeah, Mao.
Who just shifted in terms of the policies of the country and turned it into an industrial country. So if Kenya can just have also a shift in terms of policy and mindset, if it's the youth, go back to the farms. What do they need? Nowadays, you can have tech-based in terms of agriculture to make us food secure, because we're becoming less and less food secure. You know. Yeah, Mr.
Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe speaking to that very quickly, the issue of trust. The issue of trust came, is what we want to clean right now as the Kenya Chamber of Commerce. And that is why we have our first office in Hunan, Changsha, where now if you go as a Kenyan member of the chamber, you actually be unholded and assisted and you get the right thing. You know, in China, what happens is that we are able to get graded products, maybe grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3, even 4. So, so maybe most of what most of our traders do, they go get grade 4. So when you go to China, they clearly show you which one do you want. This is grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. For example, in the like, let me use an example of phone. You have an iPhone, but now it is graded into grade 1, 2, 3, and 4. So basically, it is not the issue of the China. It is our issue. It's our business trader who decided to go get the 4, which maybe can fit your pocket in this case. And so when you go use it a bit and it's not working, so that
you say this is Chinese made.
Yes, that is what has created the China market to look like, you know, to lose the trust. And that is what we want to bring back. We tell them, no, that is not how it is. There is more to gain. There is more to learn.
Okay.
And here is what we are actually focusing on more is to learn. Get a new idea. We are involved in a very, very high level. We are pushing, and we want to attain KNCCI Industrial Revolution. We want to bring as many people as possible on board.
Okay.
Because this train is going, and it will not come back. It will not stop. We want to push. We want to push to the next level, where Kenya can be able to produce for Africa.
Okay.
Exactly.
So given that we are having African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and you know, this we are supposed to produce. Now China, why we are going to China is we don't want to go and do business there. We want to go and get machines to come and do our value addition right here. We want to do manufacturing. We want to do textile. We want to do our coffee that fits every country in Africa. You find the coffee that Sudan is drinking. Maybe it needs to be made to fit Sudan. So we want to go a long way to get education, so that how do we then feed the nation and feed also East Africa? We are looking at 500 million population in East Africa right now. And when you go now to African Free Trade Area, this agreement, how are we going to use it if we don't tell our people we have to move?
Okay.
Get involved. Looking into China is that machines of all kinds, name it, from textile, from coffee, from tea, because we need to make our tea to fit the China market. China market is very big, and our tea is very nice. It's very good. It's just how you serve it, how you make it. So the reason why, again, we are taking to China is because there's a lot to win for our people, and we can be able to feed the agreements that our His Excellency Dr. William Ruto has been working for, going outside this country until people have named him, he's
the flying president.
Yeah, he's on board president. So he has done a lot. Agreements that Kenya has with the US.
Okay.
How can we feed those agreements? Because we want to engage our people in this. We need to feed those agreements. We need to feed the EU agreements, that bilateral agreements also as well.
Okay.
So to attain that, to get competitive machinery that can help our people, that can help from macro to medium and even large, it is we can attain this by engaging with China.
We have about 5 minutes to go, so I'll give you each an opportunity to make a rallying call, probably for people to attend the 7th Kenya International Industrial Expo, which will be happening from the 12th to 14th of this month at the Sarit Expo Center. We'll start with you, Anne.
Thank you for that, Fred. And this I speak on behalf of the woman. If you are a woman in this country, may it be a youth, may it be an elderly woman, or any woman you're looking forward into doing business, first of all, you need to be a member of Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. It doesn't have to be in Nairobi. You can be a member in any sector, any part of this country. And then after that, you need to get involved and you need to attend the conference. For more details, we just visit any office, any Kenya National Chamber of Commerce office. And allow me to add one thing.
Please do.
Where it comes to PPP, the private public participation, and you see women are given 30%, the women and the youth, and we are inclusive, even with the PWDs.
There's been a lot of skepticism on that allocation, that 30%. Is it happening?
We are doing a survey as the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, and we are about to give our response, whereby we have started with Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu, where we were able to bring a group of women together so that we see if they have engaged with AGPO, what they have gained from AGPO, and what is the way forward with AGPO. So for the woman out there, we are working on your behalf. Join Chamber. Come, let us do business. There's a lot of potential in this country. There's a lot of opportunities. And you see, when you help a woman, you help a society. So you're welcome to Kenya National Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, thank
you.
Again, Dimoli, thank you for having us. Thank you for having me. I want to echo to Kenyans that yes, get involved with the chamber. Chamber is yours to use to get connected to the business anywhere in the globe. Anywhere in the globe, you can get an information, whatever you need. Visit any nearest chamber offices, and you'll be given the correct information at the right time. I'm also want to speak to. We have also a trade roadshow that is coming in November 23rd to China. So I'm again taking this opportunity to welcome all our members and also all Kenyans who are ready to push this industrial revolution to the next level as we tackle the 20th what is possible within this window that we have. So I take this time to welcome all of you. We welcome you from coffee, people dealing with coffee, because we want to export more coffee to China. Now Chinese have woken up. They are now the younger generation is now drinking coffee and coffee every day. So we take this opportunity to welcome the coffee traders and coffee manufacturers. We also want to welcome the people in the tea. We also welcome the people in the tourism industry. I will speak to that a little bit. The tourism industry, when we look at China, why we are inviting many tourist firms to come with us during this time is that, we want our own tour operators to get involved.
Okay.
Because we have been having the tour firms from China operating here. So from China, it's an end-to-end Chinese circuit. So we want also our people to get involved. We want to link as many tour firms as possible to the tour firms in China, so that maybe we can grow our tourism. We are also looking at all people who are interested to start manufacturing. Name it, from avocado, oil pressing, and all that. We are also inviting you so that we can journey together. We show you where you can get the correct machineries, and we handhold you and you get the quality. With that, you can also prepare to join the SACCO that the Kenya Chamber has begun. We want to push also and give a hand to macro development as the government does. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And finally, Virginia, when you get to wrap it up for us.
Yes. Again, just a warm thank you for having us here with you. And we're looking forward to more discussions. I think this was the first of the many that will be coming. And it's also important it was an important discussion. So in terms of the chamber, for me, for the business community, we understand the challenges that the business community is currently facing, given the current economic challenges, both macro, and also we're facing a lot of disruptions at the global level, in terms of markets and changes in terms of political upheaval. And the chamber is the one place where we stand strong with the business community and are constantly working with or pushing the agenda both at the national government level, the county government, and even at the global level to make sure that our businesses thrive. And we're open to all sectors. I know today we've spoken about agri quite a bit. I think that's because it's amongst our top exporters, but within the chamber, we have multiple sectoral committees. We have livestock sectors, we have the aquaculture. So we are looking at issues from a value chain perspective, and we go in depth in terms of what can we do to grow this particular sector, who do we need to work with, which door do we need to knock, which country do we need to open that particular gateway to support the entrepreneurs in terms of access to those particular markets. Okay. You've mentioned and we've spoken about the 7th KIE, and we're welcoming both the Chinese exhibitors into the country as well as the Kenyans to come and, visit the stands, shop, network, and engage with the businessmen who will be coming into the country. Just a snapshot, because this is also coming soon. So the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we won the bid to host the World Chamber Federation Africa Summit. Oh. So it's happening for the first time in Nairobi, Kenya, coming to Africa next year, April from 9th to 11th, 2025. It will be held at the KICC. And that is such a huge opportunity for us because we're going to bring all of Africa here, the globe here. What we're looking at is, he has just touched on it, AfCFTA. We are the one continent who trades the least. Okay. If you look at the EU, I think the intertrade is almost 58%. If you look at the North African, I think it's almost 40%, near about there. But Africa, we trade at about 18%. Okay. So what can we do to enhance our intra-Africa trade? Even before, I know we have spoken a lot about China, but what can I do to grow our business, enhance the trade between Kenya and DRC? What do we need, with even Zambia? We have a trade mission going out to Zambia later in the year. And also just to connect and see what can we do between us as an African continent. Okay. So I think that will require a day on its own, and we'll be happy. Another discussion. Yes, we'll be happy for you to have us here when you come to have that.
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Asante sana Virginia Warenge, KNCCI Business Strategy, Joel Cheriot Sum, KNCCI Diaspora Committee, and Anne Phoebe Njagi, Chair Lady, KNCCI Women in Business, Nairobi. And of course, I do hope that now you have a better understanding of what happens with the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And coming up this week, they have the 7th edition of the Kenya International Industrial Expo happening at the Sarit Expo Center starting on the 12th to 14th of this month. Do make time and attend. All right. After the break, another conversation matters paternity fraud. What would you do as a man if you found yourself being forced